about Stray and the football team? Yeah. Okay, you guys just didn't have some of the lines. I added those today. Okay, so when we were taking that assessment, you guys seemed kind of like you struggled a little. Thumbs up if you thought it was a little hard. Yeah, so guess what we're going to do? So usually today, I would give you back that assessment and we would look at it and try to create a goal and try to see why didn't we get a certain score. But guess what I thought? I looked at your scores and I thought, or your papers, and I thought, you know what, instead I'm going to teach you something today. And I'm going to talk to you about the goal I think we need as a class, because I think we all need the same goal, okay? And so we're going to do a lot of work around theme and comparing and contrasting books or texts, Sylvia. And you have eyes on me. And while we're doing that, this is how it's going to look. So I kind of unpacked what I want it to look like. So this is going to help us learn. So when we're determining theme, and remember yesterday we talked about how theme is the underlying message or the big idea, almost like the main idea. And that often, well, that's okay, we'll get that at the end, okay? Often that's not told to us directly, right? We have to figure that out. We have to use the book plus what's in our head and figure the theme out. Most books don't tell us that. So this is what I want us to be able to do, and we're going to have some time practicing that. Some of you are going to be reading, some of you are going to be practicing that today. Oh, wait. So at the end of reading a story, this is what I want you to be able to do. To say a few sentences about the big life lesson. That's the theme, the big underlying idea of the book that the characters learned. So it could sound like when you're saying that, you could say the theme is, you might say he realized, or she realized, or you could say the character learned. Then you get a point if you can do that. You get another point if you can talk about the parts of the story that actually support that thinking. So, Audrey, that would sound like you would say the theme is, you tell us what the theme is, then you would say she learns this when, and you'd have to actually tell us some evidence from the text that supports your reasons for the theme. What you could say one part that shows this is, and then share a part from the story. Or you could just say, for example, when Doris's dad surprised her at the end of the story. So if we're talking about Stray. So let me show you, I wrote one for you today so you could see what a strong piece is that I want to see from all of you. And our goal is to be able to do this really well within the next 2 weeks. So I used the Book of Hope, the Brothers in Hope book. And I thought about the theme. And remember, we were talking, when we read this out loud, we talked about a lot of themes. Well, guess what? I chose this one about how leadership can be powerful. So I wrote, Garang learned that leadership can be helpful when times are really hard. So, see, I said he learned. I said Garang learned. One part in that book that shows that is when Garang became the leader of his group, and he made sure to look for everyone's safety. So did you see how this part goes back into the book, right? So here's what he learned, that leadership can be helpful, right? And then here's one part that shows when he was in charge of his whole group, and he really took that seriously, didn't he? He made sure everyone was always safe. I'm betting you guys could think of one more reason that he was a leader, or he learned that leadership was really powerful. So turn and talk and think about one more reason in this book, and I'll even do so much as open a page for you that I think you could reference. So why don't you go ahead, think about that. Remember, this is when they had to cross that really bad river. What did he do? Not only you could talk about what he did with Chuti, or what he did at the end to make sure that everyone was safe. Turn and talk. Then you would say, one part that shows this is. So start with that. One part that shows this. Or you could say, for example. So turn and talk.
One part that shows this is when he was counting
glad
them
you
to make
came.
sure everyone was there. And
He was like, he put
maybe not all of them could make it.
we went through and made sure everyone made it and counted them at the end.
I agree. I agreed and counted 1, 12, 13, 27, 31, 25.
They were my
All right, boys and girls, so I'm hearing you. I stand up. So I heard some people say one part that shows this is that he carried Shooty across the river. Thumbs up if you said that. Shooty, I don't know. Shooty. Thumbs up if that's what you said.
We should call each other.
Nobody said it except for, hey, you two did.
I did.
Okay. I heard some people say, for example, at the end, he counted to make sure all of his team members were safe. Say, thumbs up if you said that.
You did.
So if you said that, guess what? You got a point. See how easy that is? So if we were to write that or to share that in our talking, you would get a point on determining theme. Okay? Now, remember that was the question on theme. Here's the other question I saw some of us struggling with that we're going to talk about. Let's just say everyone struggled. So comparing and contrasting story elements and themes. Boys and girls, I noticed that when we were walking around, people were like, what is a story element? Guess what? We need to know what story elements are by the end of first grade. So we're going to learn it. Story elements are setting, problem, solution, characters, maybe the events. Okay, so let's talk about that. When we ask you to compare and contrast two different pieces, so remember I asked you about Stray and then we watched that Michigan football video? One point will get you, I can talk about how the events, that's the big events, the big things, are the same and different. Because compare and contrast the same and different. So you might say in both Brothers of Hope and we could say Home of the Brave because we watched that video, right? Blank was the same. We could say the problem was the same, right? Or the events were the same. Let's see, what did I say? They were trying to learn a new life, right? Was the same. That was the big event. But Kev was learning what? He was trying to learn how to survive in in America, and who was Garang was trying to learn where? Africa. So that's how it was different. So we said something about the events being the same and different. And then one point, you could talk about another story element, maybe the setting, the characters, or you could talk about the theme. And how is that partially the same and partially different? That could say the text both has, but blank is different. So you could say the setting is different in this book compared to Home of the Brave, right? This happens in Africa, and the other one's in America, right? So this is how I did it. In both Brothers in Hope and Home of the Brave, the characters were both dealing with the war, right? That was the big problem. But Keck was trying to learn a new life, and Garang was trying to survive during the war. Both texts have brave characters. So I'm comparing characters now, Jonathan. I'm comparing characters. Both texts have brave characters. The settings are different because one is in the United States and one is in Africa. So today, boys and girls, as you're reading, I want you to pull out your log. I might call you to the back of the room, and we might work on this together so that you guys can get 2 points each and learn how to do this on your own. Because in 2 weeks, when I ask you the same thing, I want you all to be able to do this all by yourself. Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably do it with a read out loud book. Yeah, we're not doing read out loud today. All right, so open up your logs. People are drawing. I need you to stop. Thank you. Open up your logs. And just take a minute and look at how many pages you read yesterday. Think about that in your head. And make a goal for yourself that says, you know, I'm going to try to get like 1 more page or 2 more pages. Or if you read with me, you might be able to get 7 more pages. So make that goal. Thumbs up when you have a goal on how. Okay, then you can go get your books and get started.